When the world is in upheaval, when there are judges who literally are saying in lower courts, I'm not going to listen to the Supreme Court. When people are saying that the president violated the Constitution, I got to talk to a guy that you know well and that I consider a friend for, it's almost 20 years, Ted. It is a former representative, former Judge Ted Poe. Ted, how are you? Good to see you.
Doing great, Joe. Thanks.
Has it been 20 years? I don't know. I've been around San Antonio since 2005, and I think the first time I interviewed you was 2007 on TV. So it's been a long time, Ted. I appreciate the friendship and all that knowledge, my man.
Likewise.
Well, good. I'm glad. I was waiting to see if you were going to say likewise. You look like you hesitated. So
yeah, I thought I'd say that. It's good. I appreciate
I thought that'd be
it
good.
too.
Let's start with the airstrikes on Iran. You know that I know that Jimmy Carter did this when he tried to go rescue the hostages. We know that Barack Obama did this when he bombed Libya and Syria and got bin Laden. We know that Bill Clinton did this. We know that George W. Bush did this. We know Trump did it in the first time when he dropped 56 missiles on Syria. Why is the left pretending like he did something to violate the Constitution by doing a military strike in Iran?
Because the left is always against Trump. Always, no matter what he does. And how he reacted was not only traditional with many presidents, but it follows the Constitution. He is the commander-in-chief. He is the head of our military. And in this situation, he did not start a war. He did not go to war. He did a precise military strike to protect the interest of the United States because it was an emergency.
Yeah.
The idea that he had to call Congress together and have a debate on whether or not to go to war or not, no. So he acted lawfully. And just go back and look at what Clinton did. How he got NATO to bomb Yugoslavia. And, we still got troops in Kosovo, former Yugoslavia, all because of Bill Clinton. So it's nothing that's what he did. He acted lawfully. He acted in the power of the president, and we need to move on.
The last time I checked, Ted, we haven't declared war since World War II. So going through Congress, that's when you have to do it. Article 2, as you said, literally says that the guy, the chief executive of the executive branch, is the commander-in-chief. So if he wants to do military actions, he is the one that commands them. Now, if he wants appropriation, he can go to you guys in Congress and say, hey, I'd like some more money for defense. Or if he wants to go to war and say, I want to declare war on fill in the blank, then he has to go to Congress. But
right.
Why do you think they do it? I mean, I know it's kind of a simple question, but maybe a complex answer. They know what you and I just talked about. They know that Obama did it over and over again. And by the way, I supported him doing it to get bin Laden in a foreign country, Pakistan, where bin Laden was hiding. We were all for that. He didn't go and check with Congress first. So why are they saying this? Do they assume that the American people are stupid? Or, Ted, do you think a lot of representatives and senators haven't read the Constitution?
I think both of those. They think Americans are stupid, and they think that fellow members of Congress are stupider because they haven't read the Constitution. They don't know what's in it. And so I think there is a lot of ignorance on those people who rant and rave and scream and holler about the president is acting unconstitutionally. They've never read the Constitution. They don't want to believe he is following the Constitution, and they want to follow their ideals that he is a bad guy. We're going to say anything we can about him, even if it's a lie. And, whether you want to talk about the Biden laptop or you want to talk about all the COVID restrictions, all of those things, they're going to take the opposite position of President Trump. If President Trump stood up and wanted to offer legislation in support of motherhood, apple pie, and the American flag, the left would be opposed to it. So they would.
I think there's a bill that somebody's starting in the House to honor apple pie. I'm pretty sure that's in there. But you're right. I mean, it could be, I have found the cure to cancer, and they'd be like, nobody should take this cure for cancer. I mean, it's just so stupid. So I think you're right. There's a bunch of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. There's a bunch of delusion. But at the end of the day, the Constitution is actually written. When you got the leader of the minority party in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, who could have been the Speaker of the House should have a few votes go a different way, he would have been the Speaker of the House, literally stand in front of the American public and say he violated the Constitution, period. Again, I have to assume he just doesn't know. He can't be really that firm in something so wrong without not having done the research. Maybe I'm wrong. Ted, is the Constitution still available to read or not? Can we read that if we wanted to?
Yes, we
It's
can read
available,
it.
right?
Although the original is in script, so
Right,
I don't
that's
know
right.
if our kids today can read it. Just like the Declaration of Independence, you got to get a printed copy. But
I'm with
yes,
you.
and members of Congress have thousands of those small pocket constitutions that they send out to their constituents all the time. I did that when I was in Congress. Yes, we have the Constitution, but I think also in play here is that the left, the Democrats, they oppose federal law. They don't like the Constitution when it doesn't suit their needs. And so they oppose the Constitution, they oppose federal law. Just think about all the history of the Democrat Party. You know, they opposed federal law. We had a civil war over that. You got to remember that the Democrats were in control of the South. And they
Right,
opposed federal law about many things. And so we had a war over it. They
right.
opposed federal law throughout all of the civil rights movement. The Ku Klux Klan, Democrat organization, the civil rights movement, they were opposed to the civil rights movement. They wanted Jim Crow laws involved. They're always opposed to federal law. And
Yes.
now they're opposed to federal law of enforcing our immigration laws, which our federal government is trying to do. They oppose it. So, and opposing the Constitution and misinterpreting that is what the Democrats have always done.
I love how Trump responded to this one. He said, impeach me, make my day. And I love that because enough is enough. Now, let me ask you about your boy Al Green. Now, not the singer, he was great, but this guy Al Green from Houston, and he's got some other areas too. That's not very far from where you used to represent in District 2. What's the story there, do you think? He literally went out, did a speech about impeaching the president over doing this military action in Iran, and Ted, 128 Democrats voted against him, and all the Republicans did. It was 360 or something to 70. There's still 70 Democrats that voted for it, but what do you make of a guy like that who you know and I know has never done anything for that community, doesn't represent anybody but himself? He waved his cane at the president during that joint session of Congress speech that he did. What is the story with this guy, do you think?
Well, I've known Al Green since '73, and we both became lawyers together in Houston. But I'm
What happened
surprised
to
he
him?
acted this way. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he acted this way. Uh, all of that was, I think, a show, and it's all about Al Green. And he has a lot of people though that vote for him that like what he did because they hate Trump too. And so he had a lot of support, raised a lot of money over that. But he was completely, literally out in left field on
Right.
that. He was wrong.
Yeah.
And when you have fellow Democrats saying you messed up, you know, that's a
128.
big deal. Yeah.
128, that's a ton.
Very disappointed in him. Very disappointed. And
Well, I
he
mean,
he bears the whole U.S. Congress. He
I
made
agree
all of
with you.
us look bad. Made me
Uh,
look bad. Everybody that in Congress look bad.
I could not agree with you more, and I wish he'd stop. I mean, if he's a good lawyer and if he's somebody who cares about his community, do that and act that way. Let's talk about the ceasefire. Ceasefire was Iran, you've got to stop in 6 hours. Israel, you've got to stop in 12 hours, and then 12 hours past that, so a total of 24 hours, complete ceasefire, complete peace, everything's done. And at the last second, Iran's bombing over here, and Israel's dropping a bunch of bombs over there. Figuratively, the president drops a bomb as he's getting on Marine One. Ted, did this ceasefire go off like a ceasefire should? Why can't we say ceasefire and they both stop? Why do you have to get to 6 or 12 hours? I don't get it.
Well, when he gave them 6 to 12 hours. And so they did exactly what countries have done in the past. We need to drop a few more bombs before the
what is
ceasefire takes effect. And that's what they did, both sides. You know, Israel says that Iran quickly started shooting more missiles, so they fired back. I don't know what the truth is,
Yeah.
but that's what people have done in previous ceasefires. The Russians and the Ukrainians did the same thing when we tried to have a ceasefire with them. They lobbed a few more missiles at each other before the time of the ceasefire. And just to belabor the point, in 1919, or 1918, when the World War I was over with, when they announced that there was going to be the war would be over, armistice on the 11th day of the 11th month, at the 11th hour,
Right.
both sides fired more rockets and shot more enemy soldiers, if you would, before the actual time of the ceasefire. So
Wow.
countries have a habit of doing that all the way back to World War I.
Is this one going to stick, do you think? I mean, I want a lasting peace there, but this ceasefire seems to be different than others in that Israel was whipping their rear ends. And us taking up the nuclear facilities, that basically brought Iran to their knees. The Ayatollah can say whatever he wants. They're the aggressors and we're the good people and blah, blah. But he knows damn well he was getting his rear end smoked. So is this one different in that they know anytime Israel wants, they can have air superiority and start doing all these airstrikes again? It appears to me that Iran was losing, so this might mean more peace. Or am I overreading this?
No, you're not. In fact, personal opinion, I think the Israelis were reluctant to have a ceasefire because they had them down. They were beating the tar out of the Iranian government and military, and now we're so to speak, letting them off the mat because there is a ceasefire. Yes, it's a saving grace for the Ayatollah. Like somebody said, nobody knew where the Ayatollah was hiding except the Iranians and the Israelis and the Americans.
Right.
And so it's a benefit to the Iranian government. But I don't think that they're going to stop. I don't think they're going to stop trying to have nuclear weapons, nuclear enrichment, hating on the United States and Israel. I think this is just a pause, really, to their benefit. And so I don't know what's going to happen in the next few days, weeks, months, but Israel is ready to finish the job at any time.
Yeah.
And of course, we know where the Ayatollah is too. And remember one other thing. Israel wanted to take out the Ayatollah. They wanted to remove him. Trump said, no, you can't do that because we don't remove even dictators who run countries.
Well, I think the problem would have been to take him out, and I want your thoughts on this, that you leave a vacuum. I think that there's going to be a revolution there, and I think the people like Western civilization, they like Western culture, and they don't want these Ayatollahs in this theocracy anymore, but they've got to do it, Ted. So they've got to somehow win over enough of the military to take these guys out. If we do it, then they're going to look like a bunch of martyrs, and I don't think that we win the hearts and minds. If they do it, it might actually work.
Well, you're exactly correct. The National Council of Resistance of Iran is a group of Iranian dissidents all over the world who've been around since 1981. There are thousands of them. And they have a council. They have a parliament. They have a parliament in exile.
Wow.
President-elect Madam Rajavi is in charge. And they've been around and they want to take over Iran for 6 months and set up a parliamentary government. And they have a 10-point plan, very similar to our Declaration of Independence. And they are ready to move in and take over that country and make it a
Right.
secular democracy. They don't want the United States involved. Do not send American troops to Iran. Don't send any weapons over there.
No.
Stay out of it. And don't set up the Shah. Without going into a lot of history, there's talk in America, let's put the Shah back in charge. No, they had a revolution in '79 to get rid of the Shah's family.
Yeah.
And the prince, the son of the Shah, is out there saying, well, I want to take over. And they don't want him. None of the Iranians do. And so the people you see marching in the United States, those are all Iranian government operatives here. They don't reflect, in my opinion, the true feelings of Iranians in the United States and Iranians in Iran. So, National Council of Resistance of Iran. Check them out.
I will. I'll do that. Now, I think you broke news. I didn't realize there was a Declaration of Appendix. I didn't realize that there was one of those.
I had a Biden moment. I had a Biden moment.
That was pretty good. It is Ted Poe, the amazing Ted Poe. We love to have Ted Poe on the program. Let me ask you about something that Andy Biggs brought up the other day. I had Andy Biggs on, great guy from Arizona. I hope he's the next governor of Arizona, to be honest. But he said that enough is enough with the reconciliation games that are being played. Let's do 2 reconciliation bills. One that'll keep the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 permanent. Let's do that one. And then we can argue about the other stuff in a second reconciliation. Can there be 2? And would you be for doing something like that? Because the Senate's going to send back a bill that the House isn't going to agree to.
Well, I think Andy Biggs is real smart. And I think that if that's the way to politically get it done, do that. I'm for either one that is the easiest to get it done.
Well, what's the holdup here, do you think? What's the holdup?
Oh, there's too many people that have to uh, have it their way. Yeah, they're in the House and the Senate. They think it's Burger King. They think they can have it their way. You can't have it your way. You gotta work together. We got to do a team effort here. It's freedom versus evil, basically. But no, I don't like that little portion there, or we need to add this little portion there.
Right.
No, get over it. And so, but you got that problem, and it's really in the Republican delegation in the Senate and in the House. They got to have it their way, specifically on every issue. They can't do that. It's
Yeah.
not Burger King. And so it's either way, two bills or one bill, whichever way is easiest to get it passed politically, but get it done.
Instead of hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, it'd be like hold the solar, hold the EVs. I can do that old jingle like they used to do.
That's right. You need another. You need another parody.
Gave me a great idea. It's Ted Poe with the ideas. All right. Let me ask you one last question. You've got this doofus judge in Boston. The Supreme Court just said 6-3 that the United States government, the DHS or the executive, can send back really bad guys, rapists, murderers, all these really heinous people to a third-party country that they're not affiliated with, provided the country would take them. And our government is doing that for as long as we can do it. But for some reason, there were some district judges that said no. Supreme Court said 6-3, yes, they can do that. And the Boston judge said, I'm going to defy the Supreme Court. Ted, what happens if you defy the Supreme Court on a local level?
The Justice Department needs to file a mandamus against that Boston judge. A mandamus is an order by the Supreme Court ordering a judge to do what he is ordered to do. That's what a mandamus is. And so they got to file a mandamus. Make him do it. Supreme Court needs to bring in these rogue judges. They have let them go wild because they are assuming authority they don't have by making decisions that apply to the whole country. And you got a judge in Delaware making decisions that apply in Alaska and Texas.
So
that's
stupid.
crazy.
Well, I'm almost out of time. Let me just ask you very specifically. If you were advising the president and the administration, would you say just send him back to the third-party country, the top court in the land state you can?
I think there's a way you can do that and just do it.
Okay.
The Supreme Court has ruled, and you can just do it. We can see if the district judge gets on his airplane and go pick those individuals back up and brings them back home.
What is he going to do? Park his car in front of the airplane? I mean, I don't understand. How does he stop them? He can't, right?
No.
So dumb.
I think it's worth examining. I wouldn't say do it. I would say examine that and then just follow the rule of law, and that it's got a problem. But there's one other thing I want to mention. If we got 30 seconds.
Make it happen.
This recent Supreme Court decision, 9-0, ruled that individuals have rights. Groups as a group don't have a right. Individuals have rights, even individuals in that group. It's a big deal. Whereas we protect the rights of individuals in this country. And they rule that way 9-0. In other words, certain groups, because they are a certain group, they don't have as a group rights. Individuals in that group have rights. Very important.
No, hold on. No, you've got my attention now. So what exactly does that mean? What group was trying to get rights that they didn't deserve? Because I grew up, I actually read the Constitution. Again, you said it was available. We can still read it. I know that individuals have rights, and they're given by the Creator, protected from overwhelming tyrannical government. What groups were trying to get rights as a group, and what was the case based on?
It was based upon certain. I think it was the
LBGTQXYZ 1, 2, 3 is what I say. Go ahead.
That's it. That's good. That they should be treated better because they're in that group than people who aren't in that group. And the Supreme Court ruled we treat people in this country based upon them as an individual. And so that is the main ruling of the court as I see it. But it was 9-0.
Yeah.
Individuals in this country have rights.
Extremely
individual
important.
Rights.
I'm glad you got to that. No, it is. I mean, because you're right. There are groups in this country, and they all seem to be radical, progressive, Marxist idiots. They all think that they have more rights. Like on college campuses, BIPOC groups, which is Black, indigenous, people of color. Those groups can have their own sorority and keep white people out, but white people couldn't do the same thing. You're right. You don't, as a group, have some right that I don't have as an individual, and you can't discriminate as you feel because somebody isn't in that group. I love that you brought that up. I didn't even realize that it was 9-0. Even the 3 idiots voted for it.
The newest judge voted for it.
Wow. Ketanji Brown Jackson voted for that?
She wrote the opinion.
Ted, she doesn't even know what a woman is.
That's a different issue. But she wrote the opinion. I think she wrote the opinion. I'm pretty sure of it.
It is. No, listen, that's a very important case. I'm glad you brought it up. It's the amazing Ted Poe. Ted, I always appreciate you. I have to do that jingle now. Now it's in my head. Hold the pickles, hold the border, hold the military. No, we got to figure it out. Let's get reconciliation done. When are we doing lunch again? Let's do it soon.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right,
Sign
brother.
me up.
You the man.
We'll go to Burger King.
Oh, we'll do that. I'll bring the new song. We'll see if they like it. That might work out. Ted, I appreciate you. We're back after this. Stay right here.